How are you today?
It's a it was a day. I survived. Still sober, so it's a win.
Oh, yes, please, Jesus, let's keep you that way. Sometimes you say things that really shock me, and I don't even know how to respond. So, yeah, on that note, are you ready to start the show?
Why not?
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to One Man and One Woman, the podcast. I am one half of your co hosts, Tara Michelle.
I am the other half of your co-hosts, Jared J. Flan.
Well, you stay hating, but it's all right. So, as I was just explaining to you, I don't really have a particular vision for this episode, but I do have some scenarios and questions that I would really love to hear your opinion on. Um, Pretty sure we're going to differ on some of these things, but that is the beauty in this podcast that you get to hear more than one perspective on a lot of things. Usually he's going to be the more mature, responsible one, and I'm going to be here for the rah rah, you know? So maybe you should listen to him. I don't know, but let's jump right into it. The first question I want to talk to you about, this is something that I personally went through with my youngest son, and I did have to come with the rah-rah to fix the situation. Just speaking, it didn't get into the physicalities, but I have been seeing a lot of videos and reels on social media of Black fathers who have sons and daughters that are being bullied. They have contacted the school board, teachers, counselors, gone up to the school, held meetings, and absolutely nothing is being done. Now, we also know that there are a lot of these babies who are unaliving themselves due to the severity of bullying. So, as a parent, when you have reached out and followed all necessary processes and procedures, and the school is failing the students at an alarming rate, and then they always want to talk about how they're working with the police to figure out what happened when the children tend to take their lives. Um, as a parent, when you see this happening and you see the changes in your child, you see the hurt, you see the pain, and nobody will do their jobs, what what is your perspective on that, and what do you think needs to be done, or how would you best handle that scenario?
I mean, if it's getting physical, then if the school doesn't want to involve the authorities, then I think you're well within your rights to do so. I'm not a big fan of the like I'm gonna go to the house and beat up the dad in front of the kid, to prove a point. Like, just catching an assault charge. I don't know. I don't think that's the solution. If it's not physical, and like I think our generation grew up a little differently. My mother's focus was always me, and she told me a lot of things that I carry to this day in terms of just how you handle people saying or doing things you don't like. And she did always tell me that like you can't control what people say. If somebody says something about you that you don't like, you have two options. Well, you have three, but one of them really isn't viable. Like you can change so that they can't say it anymore, and they'll probably just find something new to say, or you can stop caring. But the idea that you can somehow control it or make them not say things, she wanted to erase from my mind. So it was for me. It was, you gotta stay as long as they're not touching you. You know, people gonna say things. Her favorite line was Jesus Christ was perfect, and they crucified him. So, what chance do you think you have? You know, you go out in this world. There are gonna be people that don't like you. There are gonna be people that say things about you that you don't like. There are gonna be people who make fun of you. There are gonna be a lot of those things. And I guess her thing for me, because I was a short, nerdy, smart kid. So as you can imagine, I got bullied a lot. And again, as long as it wasn't physical, the idea was just, you if you're gonna fight everybody that has something to say about you, look forward to a long life of fighting. Or you can just people are allowed to say what they want to say, as long as you don't put your hands
See,
on it.
I will jump in here really quickly because we, like you said, we grew up differently. As kids born in the 80s, even maybe the kids in the 90s, by the 2000s is when, for real, by the 90s is when it just, it was a wrap for that generation. But the kids born in the, and we grew up with a thicker skin. It's because we had Joan and Sessions or whatever else y'all call it outside of the Midwest, because we said Joan and y'all be talking about flaming. It's a bunch of words for it. But basically, when y'all would sit there and do the yo mama jokes, or you rag somebody on their shoes or how they dressed or whatever, and we like took part of it or took part in it as a community. Like we did it on the bus and everybody got their turn. Nobody was safe. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one thing. But these kids today have to get talked about on the bus stop, at the school, before school, after school, on the internet. And then we make all these excuses for the people, or we give all these options for the people who are being bullied. Don't listen to them. As long as they don't touch you, it doesn't matter. Don't get on social media. Like, so they can't have the same life and be social on social media. They have to reduce themselves and reduce their interactions and reduce their fun and not be on apps to avoid this. And I think the focus should be on the bully, getting the bully to understand that what they are doing is wrong and heinous. And I am definitely for going, look, I'm for doing everything through the school first. And because I want to talk about the stuff that's not necessarily physical. Because if somebody puts their hand on your child and the school isn't willing to do anything, then you call the authorities yourself and you press charges against the school because your child has been physically assaulted, and you press charges against that kid through the police yourself. But for the stuff that's not physical, for the stuff that's mental and affects your spirit, your soul, your mind, the mental, the emotional stuff. If you've gone through all the necessary channels and nothing's happening, and you've called for a meeting with the parent, and then when you meet the parent, you see why the kid behaves that way. I am definitely for beating up the dad in front of the kid. I'm definitely for whooping the mom in front of the kid, because at this point, you have created this bully for my child. I feel it necessary for me to become your bully. And I don't really mean, like, I'm not going to harass this person every day, but look, something has to change. And I have to let my kid know I'm willing to catch that assault charge for them. Because, see, when I brought my kid into this world, I said I will protect you at any and all costs. That is my job. And me sending you to school every day telling you stuff like, as long as they don't touch you, it's okay. If you get laughed at in between every class, in between every break, nobody will talk to you or sit with you or do anything with you at lunch. You have no friends. You just made this pariah. And I'm telling you, just stand strong. Why you got to do it yourself? Either I'm going to quit my job and go to school with you every day to make sure that you have at least one friend, or I'm going to bring the drama to somebody, mama. You are going to get tired of getting your behind whooped by me, and you're going to tell your kid to leave my kid alone. And I have heard other parents knock other parents out, and that stopped the drama. I do not condone violence, but if I'm telling you, if I use the letter of the law and it does not work for me, I am willing to go all out for my kid. I don't have a choice. Otherwise, I stand there and I tell my kid, I can't protect you. I can't do anything for you, but try to make you into some soldier they can deal with it. And then when I come home and find my kid hanging, oh, y'all really ain't gonna want to deal with me then.
Yeah, and I
Everybody
just
gotta go.
and I get what everything that you're saying, and I'm not saying that you let the bullies off the hook, but I think some of it lends to what we're seeing right now. Like we have a culture where we're so focused on stopping people from saying things like you can't say this, you can't say this, don't say this, you got to call me this, you got to, and it's I think anytime you get into the mindset of I want to control the way the world reacts to me rather than how I control how I react to the world. Like you're in a losing battle. And we see adults now that don't know how to handle somebody saying something to them or somebody not liking them or posting something on the internet that they don't like or a Facebook post. Like we see adults that can't handle it now. And it's like that's all I'm saying, as a kid, because I went through it. I went through it. And
But again, we were built different.
right.
And
And so
also,
I don't
too,
think
I,
I
I
said I
think
don't think the solution is like so we know that we were built different, that you can build up a person to the
You
point
you
where
punch your bully in the mouth. They'll tell you in a heartbeat. You know what bullies don't want to do? Be mess with nobody who fight back.
so my mother gave me a 3 strike rule. You had 3 strikes. And this was when it came to anything physical. If somebody plucked me or whatever, I had don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. And after the third don't do that, I got license to do whatever it is I want to. And
See, I
I
told my
told you
kids if
stories.
somebody hits them, you tell the teacher first. If you tell the teacher and they don't do nothing and they hit you again, you drop them where they stand. And then I'll come up there and deal with the teacher and ask her why she did not create a safe space for you once you alerted her that you were being harassed and assaulted
But I'm not telling my
and
kid I
battered
can't
at that
protect them.
point.
I'm telling them that the world, like I said, if once you fight one bully's mom, what you gonna do when the next bully comes? Because the next bully is coming, and the next bully is coming,
Not
and the next bully
necessarily,
is
but
coming after that. The world
I think
doesn't stop throwing rocks your way. Like
But
it's
I
gonna
think the
keep.
most important part of this story is the schools should never let it get there. I should never have to feel like I got to pop off at somebody's mom because the school is supposed to have a zero bullying tolerance. But I guess that depends on how rich the other kid's family is or if they donated a wing or something. The point I'm trying to get to is not that I should ever get to the point of where it gets violent with somebody else's parent, but the point that I should never in my life have to go to the school multiple times, all the teachers, all the counselors, and the school board, and still be sitting here like, somebody please tell me what to do so my kid does not end it all. Because I'm willing to do whatever to show my kid. Look, hey, this is too much, and I'm so passionate about it because we have too many babies that just can't take it no more. And I understand wanting to tell them you can't control what somebody says, but I've never been bullied. I have been bullied as a kid. I was bullied because my mother would give us all these hand-me-down clothes and just, all kind of foolishness. My hair was unruly and uncontrollable. I didn't know how to deal with it. So I got bullied, but I got bullied at school. I got to ride the bus home or walk home, depending on which era we're talking about, and be peaceful at home. None of those people at that school could contact me. They didn't know where I lived. They wasn't in my house. But nowadays, it's relentless. These kids, whether it's email, whether it's apps, whether it's inside of their Roblox games, these people don't let up. Being bullied for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or how many ever waking hours you have 7 days a week is not fair. It shouldn't be legal. And I'm not saying we should try to condone what everybody says, but at school, you are supposed to be protected and provided a safe space. Somebody should be making sure that you are not bullied relentlessly while you are on school grounds.
And these are all facts. These are all true. But school hasn't been a safe place for a long time. I know the people I went to school with. I know, and I see the things that are happening now. That I had to go to school and understand there are rules to walking down the hallway. There are rules to, my interactions with people because anything can happen at any moment. And so I definitely that needs to change. The schools need to be better. But I also think we need to, like, Cat Williams used to have a joke: self-esteem is self-esteem. No one should be able to come knock that down. And that's hard. I'm not saying that's easy, but to me, that's the lesson. Like, nobody should be able to come knock you down. You know who you are. Because the world, if it's not a bully at school, it might be some racist person. It might be some idiot on the internet that just don't have nothing better to do. I remember I started a Discord channel for my podcast. I wanted to have a Discord channel where we could discuss the show and all kinds of stuff. I can show you the screenshot. That channel was up for all of 4 minutes before some dude just came in and just typed nigga and all he wanted to
Oh
do
my God.
was watch the world burn. And so that's it, they out. And if I had spazzed out or felt some kind of way, because this is my baby now. This is the show, this thing that I built. I'm trying to build this community and interact with people. And if I had taken that in personally and felt some way about
I
myself
mean, but you
because
are
some
an
lunatic
adult.
wanted to say
And
that,
that's a stupid person on the internet who wouldn't dare say it to your face, a straight punk. And that's different. You're already an adult. You've already
but
established this.
I'm
This
right, but
isn't
I've yeah.
someone saying it in your face every morning, taking your lunch money, knocking you
I
down, none of that stuff.
I can deal with the adult now because I had to deal with that stuff then. Because I had to learn how to toughen up, either defend myself, say something, or just not let people's opinions of me change who I thought. I mean, you see it to this day. If I didn't believe I was a okay person, the people who I sometimes consider my friends would tear me down. But I
These are
had
facts.
to
These are facts.
I had to learn to be comfortable with who I was and fuck anybody
But
else's opinion.
again, even the people that we consider to be our friends at one point who, can be completely funny acting and crazy on a subliminal rants and all that BS again that they wouldn't say to my face. Family members included, whoever. It is different because we grew up in a different era. We were prepared for this type of stuff. We did it amongst friends. You practice with your siblings, you practice with your friends. You built that tough skin. That's not here now. And even though I love what you're saying and wish it was that simple, if it were that simple to just teach your kids to deal with it and take it, we would not have the astronomical numbers we have of babies, 5-year olds ending it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But you see
I
how
don't feel like it's not worth it to me to take the chance to see if my kid is built strong enough for it. I want to stop the egregious behavior in grade school. Let them grow up. I can have those talks with them a plethora of times over the years as they get older and they get to high school and then when they go off to college and have them ready for it. But I don't know how you prepare a kindergartner for that.
you have those like well, maybe my mom could come on the show and give some tips because I went through it from day one, and I almost feel like a better person for it. But like
But I still think that you're
we can
comparing
bring.
the 80s people to the now
Right.
people,
So
and it's not the same.
what I'm saying is, if we know we've gotten off track, the solution to me, the solution isn't adjust to the new track, is get back on track. Like this idea that we keep pushing forward in multiple places that somehow we can gain control over what people are allowed to say to us. I think is just a losing battle.
In a school, you should be able to. You get expelled if you say these types of things to people. This is a school environment. This is not the internet. This is not on the random street. In a school, there are rules, there are policies, there are regulations. If you don't follow them, and if you are a hellion and your parents are too weak to raise you to be a good human being, get out. You and your parents take whatever you got and get up out of here because you are a nuisance and you don't deserve to be here.
And the other thing I think
So I
the
yeah,
other thing I think that we need to look at is when I was 5 years old, I didn't understand the concept of suicide. What are we exposing our kids to adult subject matter too early where they have like I maybe if I knew of such a concept at the time that things were happening to me, maybe I'd have taken that route. But these were not
oh
even
Lord.
things that I was aware of. So to me, I'm shocked that a child would know to hang themselves. Like, where are
Well,
they
they
getting the
have these
information
talks
from?
at school. They have these talks at school
So
without even asking the parents,
so that is something
explaining what these things are. And the internet is wide open.
so
You have TV shows that are made for kids that talk about that, and all these suicide prevention things it's very
so we
easy for
need
them to find out about that.
we need to start looking at that. Are we exposing children to adult subject matter too early? A 5 year old shouldn't know about that.
Yes. We absolutely are. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good route too. And we would absolutely have to do something like that if we wanted to be able to take the risk of trying to teach our kids how to toughen up. There has to be something that we do to keep them from thinking, I don't want to be here.
And then,
And knowing that that's a choice that they can make. I mean, it's a terrible choice. It shouldn't be a choice, but knowing that that's a way out if they feel like it becomes too much. Because, like I said, as a parent, I'm not willing to test it to see if I just keep telling my child, as long as they don't touch you, you can keep just being badgered. Like I said, 16, 17, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't want to come home and find my
yes,
kid not breathing no more.
and again, like when we talk about like the 17, 18 hours a day, and we say, I don't feel like you have to not be on social media. You cannot see certain things. You cannot be a certain person's friend. You cannot go over there where like you don't have to say I have to now lessen my experience in life. Like the internet is not a place where just anybody can get access to you. You sometimes have to open that access up, so close it off.
Yeah, if you want to get on the apps with all the rest of the people at the school and see what they're talking about and know what events are coming up, that those people who are bothering you are going to have access to you. So you do
I
have
don't know
to
too many
lessen
kids just trying
your
to keep up with the
experience.
events at school, but I mean that may be a new thing. But that's that's cool.
I think we have a lot of work to do, and I do think that we need to make this a major focus because, again, we have children who are, like you said, way too young to even know what that is, doing exactly that thing. And as a parent, I can understand how you could be taken to your wits' end and feel like I have got to show my kid that when I said I would protect you from any and everything, I meant that. And yes, I don't condone violence, but baby, hey, listen, everybody makes mistakes. Um, the next question I have for you, we may have talked about this a little bit before, but speaking to adults, because I think this can be true for kids and maybe even teenagers and super young adults, but for people that are in their 30s and their 40s, maybe even on up, do you think there's some truth to the saying, you are who you hang with?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we've talked about this in like not in specifically in this aspect, but we talked about this in terms of like dudes policing other dudes when it comes to like domestic violence and things like that. I feel like a person with those ideals or those morals wouldn't or shouldn't feel comfortable around me. They should know enough about what I stand for and what I do and do not tolerate, that if they were around me, that would be an uncomfortable position for them. They wouldn't want to be my friend because it would make them feel uncomfortable all the time. I think if you're around a lot of people doing a lot of foul stuff and you're aware of it and condoning it, like yes, you do. You're complicit. Even if you're not doing it, you're complicit. You're giving them, a pass. Like you're co-signing their behavior. So as much as you might not feel like you're like them because you don't do it, like you're contributing to it. You're complicit in it. So yeah, I definitely
Because you're
do.
not trying to tell them to stop.
Or you're there. Like sometimes if you just keep showing up, when somebody's doing something crazy, that's a signal to them that you agree with it or you're okay with it. And
Hmm.
I'm not saying that that's the only reason they do it, but maybe if they thought you weren't okay with it, if they had to choose between being your friend or being this type of person, they might make that choice.
And even if they chose to not be your friend no more, then you don't have to be around that.
Then
And
you don't have to
actually,
be
you
around
should
it.
have been the one to make that decision.
Yeah.
So when I think about this saying, I think about it a little differently because I think about um, this in the aspect of perspective. To me, I think that like when my teachers used to say stuff like that, this is why I stopped being friends. If you had a reputation for being a hoe in school, we couldn't be cool. And looking at it now, I'm like, man, was that still being a good friend? But I was we had this conversation too, wrapped up in my reputation that I wasn't getting ready to be guilty by association. If you out here doing strange things for free, not even for something strange for some change, for free in the library and behind the steps and all of that foolishness. And I'm hearing this. I wasn't nowhere near you when you did this, but that's all they talking about in this hallway, that hallway, before school, after school. Baby, I can't do it because somebody got one time to think that because you rock like that, they can come to me like that, and now I'm fighting a dude, which when I was younger was one of my favorite pastimes because dudes can be mad disrespectful. However, and again, I don't condone violence. However, I don't like that. If you have a really bad reputation, if you are known to be a killer, if you are known to be a bank robber, if you are known to be a rape, I told you this before too. I had somebody who I was a really good, he was a really good acquaintance of mine. He told me he was going out for the weekend to go to the casinos, and he told me the group of men he was going with. And he described one of them as an outright man who takes sex from women who didn't invite him to it. The R word.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and he was like, and he's sleeping with his girlfriend's 16-year-old daughter. I said, so he's a statutory one, a regular one, and pedo or a pedo. What? What? I said, well, let me ask you a question. If this man came and did something to me, what would you do? And he said he would unalive him. I said, why is it okay for you to hang out with him knowing he's doing it to other women that you don't know and some little girl that you don't know, but it's not okay for him to do it to me? You just gonna pick and choose? If you know the woman, he can't, but if you don't, he can? Like and I stopped talking to him for that. Like that is such an egregious thing that I'm now mad at you because you think it's okay to go somewhere and hang out and laugh and kiki and ha ha with this lousy mofo. So to me, it's about the perspective. If you are crappy people and I come around you and I'm not a crappy person, people who don't know me don't know that. I am lumped in with the likes of you. And it's very important to me that if I am not guilty of something, people aren't walking around here saying that I am.
Yeah, that's not a concern for me. I'm not concerned with your reputation. I'm concerned with who you are. Because I've been
I'm
misconstrued.
concerned with both because who you
And
are
I
can
know
mess
I
up
know you
my
are,
reputation.
but I am not. Because people misrepresent me or mischaracterize me all the time, and I've befriended a lot of people who other people didn't want to be friends with. Usually, I end up finding out why other people don't want to be friends with them. That their reputation is well deserved. But sometimes, like I always want to be that person that somebody that is looked at as a social pariah. Like, let me extend the hand of friendship if I can. But it's
Yeah,
who
me
you
too, but
are,
that's not a
not how
terrible
people
person.
see you.
I'm
Like I don't.
speaking particularly to horrible people.
Yeah, if you're a horrible person, I don't want to be associated with you. Like I don't, and I don't think you would even be comfortable around me. But if you just have a reputation for being a horrible person, and I actually find out that you're decent, like yeah, I can rock with you because people are not gonna like me regardless. Like it's cool.
I
Or
feel
they're
it.
gonna think what they want to think about me. They're gonna say what they want to say. Like, again, like they're gonna say Jesus Christ was perfect and they crucified him. So
I feel it.
it is what it is.
Okay. I want to address this with you because I can't remember if you and I have ever addressed this before. But this man versus the bear stuff, I have gotten into it with so many women on social media because
That's
I
still a
just
thing.
cannot deal with the level of stupidity. And recently, this is coming back up again because there are men in the news for doing this, that, and the third. There are people who are, some girl made a video where she walked around New York for like an hour and she just had somebody recording what was being done. There were cat calls, people, hey, baby. People came and walked next to her. Hey, you're not going to speak to me. You can't say hi. You can't this. And then all the women are, oh my God, do you see why we choose the bear? No, I see that you're a whole liar. And you still, I understand where you're trying to go with this. But if I rolled up to your crib with a grizzly and a rando dude, you're not gonna walk the grizzly into your living room, into your dining room. It's you're making this ridiculous comparison that just makes me so angry because it just the stupidity is too much. Here's the thing. It's okay to use your words and just say, I don't like when a man is super aggressive. If you don't know me, I don't even want you talking to me. Now, I don't know how you expect a man to ever get to know you. I guess everybody just wants to go to match.com or whatever else and only talk through the screen. But there are normal people in this world who remember what it was like to actually get to know somebody because you met him at the gas station, grocery store, laundromat. You said, hey, you have a beautiful smile. How you doing today? My name is so and so, so and so. Can I have your number? Or can I take you to coffee? Like to say that a man speaking to you is such an egregious act that just makes you so uncomfortable. You need therapy, lady. You need therapy because that's a human being who has the right to speak to you. Now, I do know like the cat calling, the disrespect, the coming in and walking next to somebody and following them for 2 or 3 blocks. Man, you mad crazy for that. And you really need to stop because that is egregious behavior. However, the girl walked and wouldn't speak to nobody. Like she wouldn't look at them, acknowledge them, say hi, good morning, nothing. And do you have to talk to people? No, you don't. But that's hella rude. Who raised you? You like that's real. If you just say good morning to somebody and they say, hey, you got a man? I do or no, and I'm not looking and keep moving. But the reason that they are on you like this, even one dude was like, Dad, you just can't. I just say hi. You can't say hi back. You're rude. And now you're setting up a situation where you want to say the man is the problem when you're rude, ignoring them. It does not hurt anyone to say good morning or hello, but you want to pick the bear. I just can't with women right now. We want to make men to be the big bad boogeyman, the most horrible people in the world, and all of this. And in the same breath, the next day they'll be on their page talking about they tired of being single. Where are all the good men? Oh, hanging out in the forest with the bear that you want. So it just infuriates me. But what are your thoughts on this stupid comparison?
It is stupid. It's a very stupid comparison. But at this point, I'm good with it. I like it. I should just start out with that question when I'm meeting a group of people. Just how many of y'all would choose the bear? Raise your hands. All right. I know not to fuck with any of you. Appreciate you. Like, at this point, yeah, keep raising your hands. Point yourself out so we know. Good luck with the bear. We know not to don't waste our time going over there. You chose the bear. Have fun with that. Like I'm definitely in a love who loves you, like who likes you frame of mind at this point. Because the craziness, and this is what I'm trying to get, us to see. Like the craziness isn't going anywhere. So for everything we knock down, two more show up. So at some point, we just gonna have to let the crazy be crazy. We have to let the people who, if they don't like black women, then black women don't mess with that dude, the dude that said it. If they don't like whatever, if they want to be with the bear, then let them be with the bear. It's other. I personally know women who have no problem with you catcalling them or saying what's up to them on the street. So there are women out there.
Hey.
If that's what you do, there are women out there for you. That one is not for you. And she identified herself. Thank you very much. So, at this point, I'm cool. Like, the crazies are going to be crazy. Luckily, now they identify themselves in public so that we can segregate them over there. What we need to stop doing is interacting with them. They're not for us.
Yep, exactly. Okay. Next question. I'm having fun at this point. Um, I wanted to get your thoughts on the retaliation effect. So I'm just going to use Luigi right
Okay.
now because that boy, we still don't know why he unalived the I think it was the United Healthcare CEO, but I have seen more free Luigi hashtags. And now you have the wildfires in California. You have State Farm and these other insurance places dropping 72,000 policies, canceling them weeks before these people lose everything. And then people go, you see why Luigi did what he did? Free that boy. That they're saying things like that. Free that boy, free little dude. And we know what they're talking about. Now, it is terrible that somebody lost their lives because he had a wife and sons. And I don't know if he was a deplorable person or not. I don't know if he was just doing what he was told or if he was just the face of it and had no idea what was really going on. I don't know. I know he lost his life. And I know that these people in California have lost every single part and aspect and all the years of memories and everything involved in their lives as well. And you have people who are calling for, and this is what's dangerous, and this has happened throughout history. People are calling for more unalivements of heads of companies and insurance and places and talking about how much of a scam it is. People are fed up to the point that they think unaliving a person is justifiable. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm not a pro violence person. I never think I'm not. I don't condone, assault more or less. Unaliving people. I guess we can't. That's the part that irritates me. Like we
Can we
can't
say
even.
that? You know what? I just like because I'm from YouTube and I don't curse and I try to like keep it like kid friendly so an 8-year-old can listen to me talk about perfumes. I and then people do it on the internet all the time. I didn't know if you could get banned or blocked from
Yeah,
Instagram or Facebook for saying those things. So I'm just following what I'm saying.
I'm a roll with it. I mean, I see it as a trend. You know me. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, but I'm being respectful. But yeah, no, this. But like you said, this is if you don't learn from your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And like this is the cycle. You can't. The problem. What we need to focus on now is that what usually happens is you have the oppressor, and which is like the aristocrats, and then you have like your middle class and your low class and your lower class. And what usually happens is the middle class and whatever the bottom class is group together. They go overthrow the aristocracy. The middle class becomes the aristocracy. The aristocracy becomes the middle class, and the people at the bottom never move. So if we're going to go that route, if we're going to do revolution, learn from history and do it the right way. And I'm really, I hope these people are listening because in so many aspects in America right now, we're at this point where we are tired of talking. Talking is
Mhm.
getting anybody, like in a lot of these situations, we're still talking about whether a problem exists. We haven't even agreed that there's a problem. So we're nowhere near close to coming up with a solution. And when people get tired of talking, you know, things happen. So I would hope that the powers that be are paying attention and listening and trying to figure out some way to, stem the tide before things get out of control. But if we're gonna go that route, let's learn from history. Usually, the people at the bottom stay at the bottom if you don't do this right. So maybe read up on some of these
That's
revolts and uh, and see how we could strategize a little different.
That's great advice. Also, to the people at State Farm, boy, y'all better beef up security, cause y'all are really playing with people, people who don't have the money at all to replace what they just lost. How dare you? You are despicable and disgusting people. Keep it up, and you might have Luigi number one, two, three, four, 12, A, B, C, D, 57 gunning for you guys. You have to stop being so cruel to human beings. Just think about the fact that these lousy, disgusting, deplorable cretins, hellions, diabolical, just worthless sacks of crap who run these insurance companies literally make billions off of people. And then when it's time to pay up, will do anything to get out of doing so. You are the type of person that would take somebody who would never have thought about pulling a Luigi and make them do so. It is you. You are horrible people. And it doesn't matter to some if well, here's the thing. Right and wrong doesn't always matter when you are as wrong as you are. Somebody will want to come and stoop to your level. And what you think is not justifiable might be exactly the type of justice somebody else is coming for. So just stop being terrible people.
Eh,
Just oh, good
We talked
Lord
about
have
this the other
mercy.
day. You can't trigger crazy people and then tell them how to react. Like
You
you can
you
fuck
can't trigger anybody and
anybody
tell them how
and
to
tell them how.
react.
Yeah. So this is definitely a fuck around and find out situation. And y'all should chill.
Facts. Okay, so the next question that I have, and this might be my last one, I'm not sure because this is so much fun. Um, there was a white boy. I don't know how old he was, but he definitely sounded young and completely ignorant. Who was on the show that Trevor Noah used to be on that now John Stewart is back on, whatever that's
Daily
called.
show.
Yeah, that. And he was in the comments and he was asking about reparations and he compared reparations, black people and their desire to have reparations that they absolutely deserve, to white people losing factory jobs and now them feeling displaced and them needing reparations. And Trevor took the time to explain to him what reparations was because he absolutely clearly does not know.
Yeah.
But I just find it to be so sickening that a lot of people like him think this way. Oh, well, I'm white and I don't feel the white privilege because I'm white and I'm not rich. I don't feel the privilege. So, if you think those people deserve something for 400 or 500 years ago, I deserve it for now. And I wonder what makes their brains so broken. Like, I just wonder why their level of ignorance is so freaking high. It's because of their privilege that they don't think that they have, that they're not acknowledging that they have just because they think it's solely based off of money. But in terms of having a lot of white people out here now feel like we don't deserve anything for what our ancestors went through because our ancestors are past and refusing to understand that a lot of those things can be passed down genetically, and the fact that we had family members who owned land that was stolen from them and all of the riches and the growth and the wealth that could have been if they would have been able to keep that land that should have been here for the generations that are here now. Like, they're not looking at the bigger picture of what's right and wrong for us because they don't care. They look at us and think of, wild beasts, even though we're the ones that domesticated them when they came about the mountains. I digress. I will say this. I think it's sad when people try to whitewash or erase a history of antebellum slavery and then can open their mouths and say that right now, because their papa lost his GMC or General Motors or whoever job, that they deserve something more than people who were egregiously stolen and put into antebellum slavery. But what are your thoughts on his question? Like, do you see why I would be so ticked off by that question? And do you have any inkling of why this child would actually have thought that those two things were comparable?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a pure ignorance thing. They don't understand because most of them don't know. Never been taught. We don't teach it. We don't explain it. Like I learned something new to me about like that slavery period or Jim Crow almost on like a weekly basis. Like something just pops up, and it's like, oh, like I recently was reading something where, you know, what they don't tell us is that they did give reparations to a lot of people. They gave them, and then they took them back before the law could be made permanent. I think Andrew Jackson, after Lincoln was assassinated, his vice president didn't want to, so they stonewalled it, and basically delayed the vote until it expired, and then those, because they pretty much gave the slaves land on the plantations that they were working, and they allowed those slave owners to come back in and take that land back. So it's not even as bad as never giving it to us. It's like promising us something, giving it to us, let us work it, let us try to build a life, and then take it back. Like it was a hollow promise. So yeah, but they don't. I'm 43 years old and black, and nobody ever told me this. So I can only imagine the amount of stuff they don't realize. They see stuff, and maybe they go see the movies or something, but there are a lot of there are a lot of white folks who think like slavery was good for us. Like, we had a place to stay, they was feeding us and stuff like
Oh
that. Some,
my God.
some of them feel like,
Jesus,
like,
don't let nobody say no mess like that to me, please.
but there are so many misinformed, and just if you watch that 688 movie, I saw one of the scenes where the lady was talking about the white female soldiers asking them if they had tails at night. I remember my mother telling me a story about a cousin I have that the same thing. She got she was a freshman in college, and she realized she was one of the only girls that had a room to herself. And the other girls, the white girls, would hang out with her and stuff during the day, but at night they would all disappear. And she finally like cornered one and asked them what was going on, and she said they were all told that black people grew tails and became devils at night. And
Oh my God.
these were college age women who were afraid to be around this girl after dark because they thought she was going to turn into a devil. I've had kids in West Virginia touch me to see if it rubbed off. Like
You've had?
I've had,
Baby,
I've had
see.
as a child.
Well, I don't,
There
being a
are,
fair skinned person, that has never been my experience, but that is so terrible. I'm sorry you went through that. But back to the girl, to the cousin. Hey, I don't care what you think if I get my own room. Holler at me. I'll see you in the morning. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
but that is how uninformed, misinformed a lot of them are. They don't know anything close to the truth, and in their minds, we cut our place in line. You know, the American dream was supposed to be there for them, and then all of these things are happening to help us get what they think is like a head start ahead of them. You know, and God forbid
They know
we
how
be
many
ahead of them.
paces behind we start.
But
I saw
if
this
they
video
don't
one
teach
day.
them what happened to us, they don't see that.
Well, I saw this video that these white coaches were doing. This was years ago, oh my God. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen this, and I hope it comes back up. You know how we be talking about stuff. Since the phones are always listening, pop that video back up for me. But these coaches had all these white kids and all these black kids, boys, on the football field, and they were like, if you have two parents in your household, take two steps forward. If you have a car, if you went to a private school, if your parents' total house, median, a household income is above $250,000, take four steps up. He just did all these questions. If your parents ever donated a wing to a school, all of this type of stuff. And these white kids were like half the field in front of the black kids at this point. There were quite a few of the black kids who didn't move on any of the questions that he asked. And then he said, okay, and this is a race. So the end of the field was where they had to get to. And the white kids are anywhere from 30, 40 feet ahead to, like I said, dang on near halfway across the football field, based on the privileges and the head start they have in life, based on all that their parents have, all they have experienced. Now, the beautiful thing about it is the black boys still won. They dusted the boy,
But
let me took off because they are such phenomenal specimens of human beings and strength and love and spirit and courage and bravery and oh my God. But The point was to, and what I will respect is the white kids, when they were like, okay, we're getting ready to race, were looking around at how much of a distance ahead they were. Like, wait, this isn't fair. Like some of them really were like, hey, you could see that was the first time it ever dawned on them how much privilege they had, how much of a head start they had. That was what taught them. So you're 100% correct. Until then, they never thought about it that way.
And here's the thing. They still might not be looking at it as privilege because in their mind, they don't have two parents in the household because black people are promiscuous and oversexed and black men don't take care of their children or stay in the house. That they don't have they don't have a car because we're lazy or we're not good with money. We wait like a lot of these things, even if they see how far ahead of us they are in those things, they've been taught that it's our fault. Like, and and that all we are good for is being tremendous athletes, and and that's how we're gonna make it. And even then, they feel like we're that's an unfair advantage that we have. But a lot of them aren't looking at those things as privilege. They're being taught that those things are our fault. And this is the part where I'm gonna get into trouble. Sometimes we play into that,
Hmm.
and you know, like I said, if black people were a company, our marketing department sucks. So we need to change the narrative for ourselves and for these people looking at us. Because that is the reason a lot of them don't see their privilege because they think that things that are setbacks for us are self inflicted, and that's the way it's promoted in media.
Wow. See, it's it is. I mean, when you think about not even just in media, you see the news and you know that they're always going to try to make it seem like there's something completely wrong with us. And when they do outrageous things, it's like, oh, he's just been a kid. I remember when that one guy, I don't know if his name was Ryan or whatever he was, but he was he was a mediocre swimmer and he was in the Olympics and he went over someplace and like trashed the place, got drunk and trashed it and peed all outside and all this other Ryan Lochte or something like that. And then the news was like, "Oh, he's just a young kid." This boy was like 27. He's a young kid. If it would have been, but when Lamarlo, Labolo, Lahulo, Ball
Well,
went over
yeah.
there and did something, it was lock him up. He's such an embarrassment to the United States. It's always different. Them versus us versus them. And we're not the ones that are setting it up. But when you have media doing that, when you have TV show, this Mona Scott, whatever her name is, Mona Scott Young is deplorable. Shawnee, former Shaquille O'Neal's wife, she's disgusting. You got these two black women that are behind the most egregious, terrible things that you see on TV about black women, the hippity hoppity love things, and the basketball. Ain't nobody ever been a
and then
wife
and we consume it.
shows
We consume it, and we
because
make
it's
it
black
profitable.
women sending it to us and saying, "Here, yes, we do consume it, but who's making it?" You
But
you are
they
the
wouldn't
enemy
make
of
it.
your own people. To
Yeah.
me, you want to make money by any means necessary. In the meantime, people who have never met black people before because they live in the hollers of West Virginia or wherever are looking at us like wild beasts with no dignity, morals, or self-respect because that's the kind of crap you put on their TVs.
Yeah. So I mean, across the board, we need to not make it. We need to not participate in it, and we need to not consume it and support it and make it profitable. Like we are backing a lot of the things that we hate. They exist because we buy it. They exist because
Yeah.
we consume it and we want to see it. We love a good train wreck. We love the drama. We love all of the craziness. And sometimes we don't see the impact. And for me, right now, like I'm not ever campaigning for that stuff not to exist. If that's entertainment for
I
somebody,
am.
then enjoy yourself. But can we get back to a time where there's balance, where it's not so one note, and it's not so this consistent hitting you in over the head narrative of what we are, what we can be. Can we just balance it out a little bit and show all aspects of our life and not just the ones that are the most salacious? Like, because when I talk to people about this, they're like, "Well, some people are like that, and that is some people's lives." Cool. Well, let's show the other people's lives too, because you have people out there who believe that that's all of us. And I've gotten in
Hey,
arguments with
well,
people that I've gotten in arguments with black people who agree that that is all of us, and that's sad to me.
It's very sad, and it's not true. You have people like me who don't consume that. And I have to constantly hit that X on my Facebook page to make sure I'm constantly telling you I don't want to see this. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing about Facebook. I remember when Facebook would only let me see the things from people who are actually friends on my page. Now, people I ain't never heard of, pages I don't know nothing about, or all I see in my feed. You post stuff and I don't know you posted it for 5 days later. I gotta literally go and type in names and go and stalk people to see what they're up to because my feed isn't reflecting what it should. But you're gonna send me all this other mess that I don't want because you're trying to be funny. That's what you're doing, Meta. Get on my last dang on
I got
nerves.
dinged today
However,
for posting fake news, so I had to take something down.
Uh, you know what? I cannot. I'm just not. So I think because we're at time, we're like at 50 minutes, about to be an hour episode, almost an hour episode. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop it here. But I do have some other really great questions I want to know your answers to. But this is fun. Again, I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in, but I had a lot of different topics I wanted to talk about. So every now and then, I feel like this is what you do on What is TWS when you have people send Flan a question, and then you answer it for them. I think that sometimes it's okay if there's so many different things going on and say, you know what? Let's just talk about it all. And it's going to be hella fun for the reels. So, I
I'm
love
good with
doing
it.
the reels.
I'm good with it.
You got anything you want to say to the people?
Uh,
Nope. Okay. Well, I'll say what I
wow.
say. Just remember for the next week until you hear from us again to always be good to yourself and be kind to others. Holla.
Yeah. Never interrupt a man when he's talking. Holler.
You were talking? Oh my God. I'm so sorry.